gosh. I am Miss Sarah, and today we are going to be painting the Winter Fox. It is one of my favorite paintings. I love it so much. You can change it up, use the colors to create your very own scarf, any color you like. It doesn't have to be green like mine. And he's full of personality. So you can put eyelashes on him, change the smile, anything you'd like, because we love to see what our artists come up with. So get creative, have fun with me. Remember that you can pause the video, forward it, rewind it, whatever you need to do. You don't have to paint at my pace. I'm going to be keeping a pretty steady pace. So keep that in mind. I'll be using a flat brush today, a detail, and then a small flat. These brushes work great for me. Maybe something else works better for you. So you got to use what works for you, right? Grab yourself a jar of water or a cup of water and a napkin. All of your paint should be laid out in front of you, ready to go. One thing I recommend you do is spread out your white, okay? Make sure you have it in different piles so it's not contaminated all at once, because we're gonna be mixing colors, and if we ruin all of our white the first time, you know, we can't really use it anymore. So spread out your white and let's start painting. You ready? Okay, grab your large flat. We are going to do our background first, and mine is a very light blue. So I'm going to put my brush in water, loosen the bristles, tap it off, and I'm going to create a very light blue. So the reason we give you dark blue to mix with white is so you can decide how light you want it. We love to give you options, so you can decide if you want it lighter or darker. I wanted mine pretty light, so you can see that I am mixing a lot of white with mine. Okay, so I have a very light blue, and it's a winter blue. I wanted it light, wintry, with some snowflakes. Okay, and I like to start in my corners and work my way towards the image. Okay, so we want to be careful. If you have our paint kit, you have the image all ready to go. Or maybe you got our pattern off our website and you traced it on, and we just want to make sure that we keep that image there. Now, to make it look a little blustery, I take my brush that's full of blue and I put a little bit of white on the corner like that. And I face the white towards my image and go around my image with that white against it. Okay, and let it fade into my blue. And see how it creates a lighter shade up close to my fox? I love that. Okay, so I'm gonna go around my fox, and you'll notice that's how I get it lighter up close to my fox. And it gives us those streaks of white too, which I love so much because it makes it look a little more blustery. Okay. Now, if you have little corners like me for the fox's hair, you'll want to use the toe of your brush, okay? So the toe is the tippy point of your brush. As you go into those small corners, use the toe. It makes it a little bit easier. Also, if you're painting on a canvas and you have those sides on your canvas, we love to wrap, which means we paint the sides and the top and the bottom of our canvases. That way you don't have to frame them, frame your paintings. It's all finished all the way around and it looks so pretty. So reach up tall, paint the top of your canvas and also the sides. I'm not going to paint the bottom because that's going to be my fox. I'll paint my sides and my top though. All right, I think I've got my background in. There is one little area down here, actually. Well, don't forget this area. Don't know what I was thinking there. So you are going to paint the bottom of your canvas a little bit right there, right along the bottom, just that bottom corner. You can paint that bottom corner blue. So lift up your canvas and paint that while you're at it. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go into the corner of the hair here using the toe of my brush. Now you can let that paint streak, those white streaks in your paint, I leave them because it helps it look like it's blowing a little bit. See, I like to just leave little streaks of white in there, just like that. Okay, awesome. So our background's done. Let's rinse our brush. Get it nice and clean here. Then we're gonna start putting in our fox. And my fox is orange, but I'm gonna add some white to my orange because our orange is transparent. That means you can see through it. And the white will really help so we don't have to do a ton of layers. Plus, I like to lighten up our orange just a little bit. So I'm gonna put some white in my orange and mix it up. Just like that, okay? And let's start at the head. Now, when you are painting this head, to make it look more round, you wanna try and keep your brush stroke going in a rainbow shape. Follow the head around. See that? Now, I'm not painting the eyes because the eyes are a different color. But as you go towards the nose, you'll do the same way. You're gonna move your paintbrush in the direction of the nose. And all these brush strokes are gonna show the shape of the head if you go in the right direction. So try and keep your brush moving instead of up and down, right? We wanna keep it moving around. Okay, we'll get up close to the eye. We're gonna try not to paint inside of it. We're doing our best. If we paint inside a little bit, it's okay. No worries. Just gonna do our best to paint around it. There we go. Now we're gonna go all the way down to the nose. All the way down. There we go. All right, hopefully one layer of orange was good for you. If you need another one, let it dry and you can put another layer on. One is all I need. And go right around here. Finish off the edge where my head is. We gotta paint the ears too. Reach up tall. Let's paint our ears orange. I'm not gonna paint the center, it's a different color. So we're gonna paint around the center. There we go. Let's do our other ear. It's kind of tricky to stay inside the ear, but that's why we're painting together. We're practicing and learning. So just have fun and do your best. Okay, make sure this corner's done before we move on. We're gonna float the edges in a minute. I'm gonna show you how to do that. But first, let's finish up down here, okay? Now this is his scarf right here, or her scarf, okay, good girl. So we're gonna finish up the line right there to connect the scarf, see that? So paint a little bit of a curve right there, just to finish off the scarf. And then we'll go right down here below the scarf and paint the little corner there. This is his belly, so we don't want to paint the middle of that just yet. There you go, you can wrap your canvas right there too if you want to. All right, now that I've painted him orange, I'm gonna show you how to float the edges to kind of darken him up. So I have orange on my brush, and I'm gonna put a little bit of red on the corner. See that? Just a little bit of red. Okay, and I'm gonna face that red against the outside edge of my fox. Just like that, and let it float around the top of the head to the other side. Okay, see how it makes that edge just a little darker? It's so fun. It adds some dimension to our painting. Love it. That way it's not so flat. So I just follow that edge all the way around. There we go. Keep loading your brush with more red when it runs out. Okay, now I'm going to follow it the same way around the eyes, all the way to the nose. It gives me that darker shade. Now I reloaded my brush again with some red on the corner. I'm going to follow the other eye around, all the way around there. Love it. Okay, it's going to blend in, make sure my orange is all painted in. Isn't that pretty? All right, let's add a little bit of red to the outside of the ears. Now, if you don't want to float with me, if you think it's a little too tricky for you and you'd rather not, that's okay. You don't have to float. You can also use a detail brush and outline it with red as well. So do what works for you. You can go around the edges with a smaller brush if that's a little more comfortable for you. I'm going to do all the ears here. For me, I've practiced floating a lot, and so I prefer floating to outlining. But we all have our own preferences, so whatever works for you. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and do the same down here by his belly. We're just going to outline the edges just like that. You can even go just under the scarf with the red, and it adds a shadow to make it look like the scarf isn't flat against him. It comes out a little bit. Okay, so I'll do it here too. Same thing, put a little red there on the edges. And like I said, you can outline that too. Okay. Go against the nose, make sure it's all finished. Awesome, love that color. Okay, let's rinse our brush out really good, because we don't want that orange showing up in our belly, right? Okay, so we're gonna make the color for the eyes and his belly, and it's a really light brown. So I'm just gonna get a touch of my brown and mix it with a lot of white, okay? It's pretty light. It's not very dark. We want to keep it really light. Okay. So you can see there's a little bit of an outline here where his white eyes are. And his white eyes come around and meet up with those eyeballs. So I'm going to put the brown in around that. I'm not going to paint white, or not white, but brown inside that circle. I'm going to keep it out, okay? And come all the way around, follow it here to the nose. There we go. Right there to the eyeball. Circle it around. Okay. We're going to add white in a minute, so don't worry. If my circle isn't great, it's because I know I'm coming back to it. I'm just getting this color in there, and I don't want to lose where that circle starts, so I can find it in a minute. So I'm going around that area. Just continue putting this light brown in around our eyes, all the way to the point. Okay. There it is. He looks awesome. Okay, now let's go and put some down here on his belly. Same thing. All the way around, just under his scarf. There we go. Okay, now before it dries, we're going to do the same thing that we did on the orange. We're going to float. Now remember, you can float it with me or use a detail brush and outline it with me. Okay, so there's options. You don't have to do it the same way I'm doing it. Do what works for you. Okay, so I have my fox color on my brush. And your paint should still be wet. I'm just making sure mine's drying really fast. Okay, now I'm gonna put a little bit of brown on the corner of my brush, just like that. Okay, so we're doing the same thing we did on the head. I'm gonna face it on the outside of my eyes, and I'm gonna float the edge of the eyes. See how it's a darker brown now? Okay, now I'm gonna reload my brush. And again, you can do this with a detail brush, a little brush, and just outline it instead of float it. I'm gonna do the other eye here. I'm gonna go up. Okay, you can decide how dark you want it. You don't have to have it as dark as mine. Follow it all the way to that edge. There we go. So cute. Okay, now we're going to come down on this side. Keep going around the edge. There we go. I'm gonna carefully outline each of his little fur sticking out there. Each little shape. There we go. Use the toe of your brush if you need to. That's kind of tricky. It's a little tricky to get in there. Okay, let's follow it around right over the scarf. And there he is. Okay, let's finish up this side same way. I come right around the edge. And come right up. Use the toe of your brush to do those little triangles. Okay, now we're going to follow it out here. There it is. Phew, good job. If you did that with me, you should be so proud of yourself. That's tricky, super tricky, even if you're outlining it. All right, I'm going to do it now on the belly. We're going to go right along that edge and underneath the scarf, give it a shadow. There we go, all the way down. Now I'm just gonna brush any extras out. Anything extra I have on my brush, just curve it in there, blend it in, and there he is. Look how cute. All right, now we just gotta do the ears. I'm gonna paint them brown. I should have done the ears when I was doing the head and the belly. I'm so sorry. So if you didn't do the ears with me, or if you, maybe you did them because you thought, oh, Miss Sarah does not know that she missed that. So you may have been on the ball, but if you missed it too, then go ahead now and let's just paint those ears. Let's go ahead and fill those in. Same color as the head and the belly, okay? My bad. I tend to do that sometimes. All right, there it is. Now you go and you'll just do the same thing. Put some brown on that corner. And we're just gonna float the inside of each ear. Just like that. And there you have it. All done with that. So let's rinse our brush really good. Make sure it's super clean. And we're gonna paint our scarf. Okay, so my scarf is green. Feel free to change it up. You have lots of colors on your plate, right? Or in your little paint cups. You have red, orange, green, blue. So you can switch this up and do any color you want for your scarf. I'm gonna do green, and I'm mixing my green with some white. I'm not gonna mix up all my green. I wanna save some for later. Okay, as soon as you're ready, go ahead and start painting out this top part of his scarf. We want to paint from side to side, curving our brush with the scarf. Okay. That will help it look like the material is going around his neck. If you're painting up and down on this part, then it'll look like it's going up and down instead of around. So you want to curve your scarf. follow it around. So the brush strokes wrap it for you. There we go. And then this bottom part of the scarf, we're gonna brush down as if it's coming down out of your scarf. And then you can lift your canvas and paint the bottom where that scarf is wrapping around to finish it up. Now it's a really light green right now because we're doing something just like we did with the fox. We did our light orange and then we outlined it with red to really make it stand out. So in just a minute, we're gonna do that with the scarf too. But while we wait for it to dry a minute, we're gonna finish up the eyes. Okay, so rinse your brush out really good and let's grab some white. Make sure you have clean white on your brush. Just like this, like really clean white. I'm gonna come up here to my eyes. Okay, I'm gonna create a circle all the way around that meets up with that smaller circle. See that? It's a little tricky. Follow this outside line that's traced for you and wrap around, meeting that circle, that smaller circle in the middle. Okay, do it on this side. So wrap around, that's your guide, and have it meet up with that smaller circle. There we go. It's not super noticeable, so don't worry too much about it. You just want to give it a lighter shade right there. That's all we're going for. It's perfect. Okay. Now we just need, right here on this edge, we need to outline it. You can use a detail or line brush for that, or you can float it again. I'm just gonna float it again. I'm gonna put a little bit of brown on that edge of my brush. Okay, I cleaned my brush. If you have white on it still, that works too. That's perfectly fine. So I'm gonna start right here. Follow that outside edge with my brush. Okay, all the way around. And you can use your line brush for this. You're just making like a moon shape along the edge of that eye. See that? So if you want to use your line brush to do it, it might be a lot easier for you. Typically I do use a line brush for this part. So it is smaller. It's hard to get a small line when you're floating or when you're new to floating. It takes some practice, so definitely go for that line brush. It might be easier. I'm just making sure they match up a little bit here. I think that's pretty good. Love it so much. Rinse my brush here. Okay, let's go back to our scarf. We're gonna finish it up. We need to float the edges with our dark green now, okay? So, remember you can outline it or you can put another layer of just dark green on it and not float the edges or any color you're using. You may not be doing green, but if you want to float the edges with me, I'm gonna put some green on the corner of my brush, okay? I'm just gonna follow the outside of my scarf. Put another layer in here. My brush is wet, so I am gonna try that again. If your brush is too wet, like mine was, it won't float for you. It'll just drip all over. So I'm gonna try it again. Okay, get the water out of there. Now I'm gonna put some green on there again. Pick up some orange there, oops. Okay, we're gonna follow the scarf around. Both sides, and see how I went straight across where it goes down to separate it? There we go. I want to do that, and I'm going to put a shadow under the nose. There we go. I'm going to come down on each side of this one. make my scarf just a little darker real quick here, so it pops a little more for you. Then I'll shade it. Make it just a little darker. There we go. Okay. Sometimes my brush is too wet and I can't get the effect, so we'll try it again. Just a minute. Let's let that dry a second. You can see the edges are a little darker, and that's what we're going for. Okay, let that dry. And let's do our eyeballs. Okay, this one should be dry for you. Now you can use a detail brush, or you can use a small flat brush to do eyes. I'm using a flat brush because I like to spin my brush around to get a circle. But sometimes a detail brush is easier, so you do whatever works best for you. I'm going to follow it around, and circles are really tricky. They're hard to do. So we're just going to do our best. Oh, got some green on my hand there. There we go. Okay, I'm going to come around and circle around and finish up the eye. Goal is to try not to pick up your brush as you go around that circle, so you can get a nice spin on it, a nice edge. It definitely takes some practice. Circles are just kind of tricky, so be patient with yourself. Just do your best. You can always use white to cover anything up you need to later. It's a fun thing with acrylics. You can always go back and fix things. Okay. I think I got the circle done. Fill it in. Nice circle there. There he is. Okay, let's do his nose. He's got a big round circle here for his nose. Or her nose. You can add lashes. A lot of our artists love to add their lashes. We could have a girl or a boy fox. Circle around. Ooh, get that big circle on there. I think we did it. There it is. Love it. All right. Let's rinse that brush out. Put some more white on there. There we go. Now let those eyes dry for just a minute before we put the reflection in the eyes. I want to make sure it dries for a second. Okay, now the scarf should be dry. Let's try it again. Let's see if it's dry enough for us to float it. Oh, that's better. Now I can do the edge darker. See that? If your brush is too wet or if your paint is just too wet, it won't work for you. Gotta let it dry a minute. Okay, so put some green on that edge of your brush. Follow it around. Such a cute fox. There we go. I'll do it along the outside edge of the scarf coming down. On both sides to finish it up. Blustery day. That scarf is blowing over there. Just go underneath here. Blend it in. All right, guys, looking pretty cute. Love that. Love that scarf. Okay, let that scarf dry for a minute. I'm gonna rinse my brush out. Okay, and let's add our snow. Snow is so fun. You just flip your brush around, use the back of it, and let's dip it in some white. Get a white chocolate chip, just like that. And you're going to come up here and just stamp those snowflakes in. Anywhere you'd like them. You can have small ones, big ones. Just wherever you want that snow to be falling. Just keep dipping it in white and then stamping. The more paint you have on your brush, the bigger that snow will be. There we go. A lot of artists also put snowflakes on the head and the scarf, so if you want to do that too, that's super cute. All right, your eyes should be dry. If they're dry, go ahead and stamp the back of your brush to give a reflection in the eye. There we go. I put one on each side. Isn't that cute? And there he is. Okay, rinse that off or wipe it off. And let's do our highlights. You know how much we love our highlights that just help our paintings pop a little bit. Okay, so you can either use a detail brush or the corner of your flat brush. Put some white on there. I'm just gonna do a little stroke on the top of his head with white. Give him a highlight there. Also one on the top of his nose. I'm just gonna curve it around. Just like that. Isn't that cute? He has a little one here just on his shoulder, just to draw some attention to it. And there you have it, guys. There's your cute little fox. He's adorable. I love him. So be sure to sign your name because you did an amazing job and everyone should know it. So I'm gonna find a spot here and put my signature. I'm gonna do it right here by my scarf. Sign it with your little brush any way you like. I love this painting. I hope you had as much fun as I did. Thanks for painting with me. If you liked this video, give us a thumbs up and share your photos with us by tagging us at My Little Paintbrush. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.